So I'm just introduced myself. My name is Vishal Lal. I'm the managing director and founder of Polar Racking. I have with myself here in the room Arash Yazdani. Arash is head of PRI engineering, which is the engineering offshoot from Polar Racking. Arash himself has over a gigawatt of foundation geotechnical design and foundation design experience. He's the engineer of record on the foundation designs for the PRUD product as well. So definitely here to answer all your questions about foundation. I have Keith Roy here, who's our construction manager, who has assembled many megawatts of PRU and PRUD all over Canada and the US, and is here to answer all your questions about any type of assembly or construction or tolerance issues. And we have Danny Mueller from Franken Solar, and I'll let Danny introduce himself. Looks like we got a lot more people joining every minute now. We're up to 22 now, so it's growing quickly, Danny. So I'll hand it over to you now for you to talk a little bit about Franken Solar and yourself, and then we'll jump into the webinar about Polar and PRUD.
Thank you, Vishal. I'd like to thank everyone for showing up today, and thank you, Polar Racking, for doing this webinar with us. It is a subject we thought that was quite important to cover. It's been a lot more demand for ground mount racking over the last year and a half. So partnering with Polar has been great for us. If you want to go to my presentation, Vishal, I can then get started. Awesome. You might as well go to the next. Yeah, perfect. So Franken Solar, originally established in 1990 in Franken region of Germany as a solar distributor. In 2011, we moved to North America to start a subsidiary here. And that was started in Mississauga originally, and then we moved to Brampton for a larger warehouse. In the meantime, we've opened a second location, which is in Edmonton, for the Western Canadian market. And over the last, what has it been now, nine years or so, we've been able to supply equipment to over 10,000 residential and commercial systems across Canada. So we've been quite busy over the last few years. So I think it's actually over 11,000 now. But yeah, that's in the meantime, we also have 15 employees at the moment. So keep growing, and we're not a huge team, but we have a lot of really good people, very knowledgeable. Next slide, please. Our mission is assisting Canadian solar installers with designing high quality and competitively priced solar projects for every home and commercial building in Canada. What this really means is we're trying to help you with picking the right products that make your systems more affordable, not just upfront, but also over the 25-year lifespan of that project. It's not about necessarily just getting the fanciest solutions out there. It's about getting equipment that is going to last. Next slide. The Franken Solar difference. What makes us different is we've been around for longer than any distributor in Canada when it comes to solar. We've got long-standing relationships that we've established over the last 30 years or so. For example, SMA, the inverter manufacturer SMA, we've been working with since 1991. So very long relationships there. We have a lot of in-house support when it comes to engineering. We've got Alexander Wolf, electrical engineer on staff, and just a lot of really experienced people on the sales team. We have Randy Fascinato, who's been heading Canadian Solar over the last, before joining us, over the last few years as well for the Canadian market, and and Natalie, who came from a racking company. So we've got a lot of experience there. So the first solar distributor in Canada to have one price list for all installers. So what that means is, because we only have one price list, it means that it's very competitive. It is. Vishal, I think you have some background noise there. Can you mute yourself?
Sure.
Thank you. We have one price list, and that means that it's really cost effective. And we've also established just recently that we offer free shipping across the country. So that gets one piece of the puzzle taken care of if you order from us right off the bat. There won't be any shipping charges, with a few exceptions, but in general, there's no shipping charges. Next slide, please, Vishal. So has been something that is, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, has become really popular, and there's been a lot of demand for it over the last couple of years or so. Before that, as the market was mostly Ontario driven, there was not too much ground mount going on here. There were some regulations that didn't allow it, but over the last couple of years, there's been a big push towards it, and we wanted to find a solution that is easy to work with. It doesn't make sense to have a custom solution for every specific project, as that would drive up lead time and cost. And Polar approached us with their solution, which is a 2x8 rack at 35 degrees that was very cost competitive and backed by a company we trust, as we've worked with Polar for a long time. So yeah, so that is when we started to partner. It is a modular design, like I said. It can be used with ground screws, helical piles. I believe it could be used with ballast as well, with concrete ballast, which I don't think anyone has done that we've worked with, but it is a possibility if ground screws wouldn't work. And it's, like I said, at a very attractive price point. At this point, I would also love to pass it back to Vishal and have you take it from here, Vishal.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that introduction. And it's been great working with Franken Solar so far. And we worked on a lot of opportunities on rooftop and ground mounts. And it's exciting to see the partnership grow. With that, I will jump into our part of the presentation. So, just very, very quickly, Polar Racking is a Canadian company. We've been around since 2009. So 11 years in the Canadian solar coaster. We're also doing business in the US and the Caribbean. We have a full in-house staff of mechanical engineers, structural engineers, geotechnical engineers as well, do full project management and supply chain from our location here. We are fabless, so we use contract manufacturing for our products, but everything is designed and managed out of our office here in Canada. So here are just a very, very quick overview of our products. PRG, which is our flat balanced rooftop solution, which we had the webinar about in late May. PRR is our flush mount solution for residential and commercial applications. PRUD, which is the topic of the webinar today, which is the product that we have for small residential and small commercial installations, which is in stock currently at Franken Solar, and PRU, which is our larger utility scale, greater than 500 kilowatts, really customized ground mount solution. We have PRP, which is carports, which again is a very custom solution, and we have over 25 megawatts of carports installed now in the US and growing. And we supply foundations, so helical piles, ground screws, and driven piles. We manufacture them here in Ontario and some overseas, and supply them and have supplied them all over North America and in the Caribbean. Um, PRUD, the intent of PRUD is not to require engineering services, but we do offer engineering services. We have a very large team of geotechnical engineers, civil engineers, and structural engineers. We also offer surveys. We are going to have a webinar about our engineering services here in the next few weeks. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned for that coming up in the next few weeks. So the reason that we're here today is to talk about the PRUD small distribution ground mount solution. So basically, this solution is in stock at Franken Solar. The thought process behind this is in a traditional ground mount system, you have outer tables and inner tables, and the system is designed very specifically for that install. Whereas this is a kitted rack. It comes 2x8, and it's designed to literally stand one table on its own, or you could make a row or an array of tables, and we roll it like this for distribution. So we can deploy it quickly to sites. It doesn't require site-specific engineering. We have a pre-stamped foundation design as well, and multiple types of foundation, which we'll show you later in the presentation. All of our east-west are pre-punched for wire management, and it's, as I said, it's in stock at Franken Solar. So it's something that you can deploy very, very quickly. And you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money in engineering to get it done, because if we're talking about sites that are larger than 500 kilowatts, usually it makes sense to go and spend some money on engineering, and you'll most likely save that or more as a result. But on these smaller sites, you want to be able to take something standard and go to site and get it done, and not have to spend too much money in engineering. Some of the key product features: very, very quick assembly times. I know some of you that are online right now have used this system and used other systems, and we'll get into some of the tolerances that we have in assembly later on in the presentation. It's a galvanized steel design, G90. It's currently designed with helical piles and ground screws, and we have a few remediation designs as well, which again we'll show you in the presentation, in case you don't get the pile in as planned at first. Integrated wire management, 10-year warranty, very efficient use of posts to panels. So we have 4 posts for 16 panels. You can use it on a slope up to 10%. Now we say up to 10% because there's all kinds of wacky things that we see. Generally you should be able to do more, but at your own risk. And it is UL 2703 certified in Canada and the USA for bonding and grounding, which the large majority of the competing solutions in the market today, especially in Canada, are not certified for to any of these standards. So something definitely you should consider when selecting a solution, because as we're seeing more in Saskatchewan than in other places, but I suspect that the other provinces are going to catch up, is the local authorities are definitely asking for proof of certification. So the PRUD that we have in stock at Franken Solar is a dual post design, which means that there's a front and a back leg. It's set at 30 degrees fixed tilt. It is, as I said, it's been tested, to UL 2703 standards in Canada and in the US. We use a UL 467 bonding washer. We do have a package stamped for Ontario, Manitoba, Alberta, Saskatchewan today. And if we have requests from other provinces, it'll be easy for us get that done, and we are looking at getting that done for some projects out east right now. So yeah, definitely contact us if you have projects. It is a top clamp design, which means you're not direct bolting from underneath. You're clamping from the top. Integrated bonding. Currently designed for helical piles and ground screws, but as Danny mentioned, we can, with some additional engineering, provide you a ballasted design to use with the exact same rack. As I said before, G90 pre-galvanized steel, magni-coated fasteners. All the modules are in portrait, so it's 2-up in portrait. And today, the stock that we have at Franken Solar accommodates module widths of 990 to 1024. And as Danny and I have been discussing over the past week or two, the modules are getting bigger. So as Franken Solar places their next order, we're going to adjust the range to, again, what makes sense. As you can appreciate, there is a trade-off between the total length of the product that we're shipping and making, and the different types of modules. And we try to be the one size fits all, but as the sizes keep our moving target, we are trying to, as quickly as we can, move with the ranges. So if you do have a module that you're considering that's outside this 990 to 1024 range, definitely contact your salesperson at Franken Solar. They'll bring that to us, and if there is a workaround with the stock that we have, we're happy to take a look at that and provide you with some suggestions and some solutions.
Yeah, and a lot of our customers wanted to use the 72-cell Longi, which is a larger module, and you were able to find a solution for us there with a 2x7, correct?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what we've shared with you. And
yeah, and we do have those drawings for anyone wants to use the Longis. So
yeah, perfect. And again, next time we will have the 2x8 design for the Longi, and whatever the whatever the panel of the hours are, we'll make that adjustment as we go. So even if you're considering a module in the future and you're considering this product, definitely share the information with us, share it with Franken Solar, so we make sure that we're looking at that for the next run. It's been going pretty well. The stock at Franken Solar turns pretty quickly. I think every couple of months Franken Solar is placing another order. So yeah, it shouldn't, this is not like very long cycles here. So definitely get your information in if you are considering different modules. So the next few slides, although they're not as clear as I would have liked, I wanted to give everyone here an idea of what you're going to get in the package from Franken Solar in terms of the design package. So you'll see here, this is the 2x8 table design for 990 to 1004. Now, the total range is to 1024. However, for the smaller modules, you're basically looking at a 2x8 table that separates down the middle into two 2x4 tables, and we have slots to accommodate the different panel sizes. And down the middle here, you'll have end clamps on the two ends, and then you'll have end clamps in the middle here for the smaller modules. So as I said, the table kind of breaks up into, or the table does break up almost into two 2x4 tables on the using the same posts. So the two posts for the total 2x8. And then if you go to a wider module, you're just spanning right across the entire rack, and you only have end clamps at the end, with mid clamps all the way through in the middle, sitting on those same 4 posts. So, when you get the package from Franken Solar, of the products, you'll get this design package with the full bill of materials, stamped for the province that you're located in, and you should be able to use these, this package for your building permit, ideally. And if you do need additional support, it is available. But ideally, this product is designed off the shelf. Take it in. Here's your stamp drawings, and you're off to the races. just understanding the bill of materials quickly. It is a very, very simple design with very few parts. So there's 7 main components plus your solar modules. So you have your posts, which are your legs here, which are C channels that end up connecting to your foundation, which in this case would be a helical pile or a ground screw, your north-south beams, your braces, east-west beams. The brackets on the east-west beams connect the east-west beam to the north-south beam. Your end clamps, which go on the end here, and mid clamps, which connect in between the modules. So very, very high level 30,000 foot view of the rack. There is a lot of adjustability in the rack in terms of positioning. The tolerances that are provided here on this slide are our standard tolerances. So if you stick in here within these tolerances, you'll have no issue building your rack. Now, I will say, and I will deny it when you come back to me after, there's a lot more tolerance than what's indicated here. And what I mean by that is you can have one of your posts or 2 of your posts off by almost double these tolerances, and you'll still be able to work with the rack. You just can't have every single post or every single beam off of those additional tolerances, because then you're going to be running into trouble. But yeah, if one of your posts are off by more than this, then it's a very, very adjustable solution, and you'll be able to bring the rack back into spec, even if you are off, even if one of your posts are off. So, and we can talk more about that in the question and answer if you'd like, and Keith can specifically address how that would work. So the package that you're going to receive from us, as I said, it's a pre-engineered rack, which is stamped foundation design with stamp racking design. So the tables that you're going to receive, we've already showed you. You're going to receive a standard design for a helical pile, which is a 10-foot long helical pile with a 14-inch helix. It's a 3.5-inch pile, so it's a relatively small pile, easy to install. Either yourself or hiring a contractor to do that. And so here's your standard pile design, and again, this will be stamped for the province that you're in. It'll come with the details of the pile itself and the minimum torques that you need to achieve during the installation. Along with the package, you are going to receive your remediation pile design, which is, hey, what if I don't hit the torque specified? What should I do? Again, just so you're aware and you don't have to worry about contacting someone from Franken Solar or Polar Racking, you're going to the site prepared. So the first pile design would be a sleeved pile design. And again, if you have questions about what a sleeve is and how it would work and how it would impact your design, we can talk about that during the question period today or afterwards. We're happy to review that with you. What the sleeve does is, if you're not achieving torque, you basically place the sleeve in the frost zone, and that way, the frost is acting on the sleeve and not on the pile. And ideally, the sleeve is moving and the pile is not moving, and that way you're able to use the same pile with less torque achieved. And if you cannot sleeve your pile, then the next remediation option would be to insulate the pile, which is to put some hard foam insulation around the pile here. And again, what that does is it prevents freeze from setting in or acting on the pile, or Rash, correct me, is there a better word for that?
It reduces the frost penetration depth.
Exactly. And that way, if you are hitting obstructions and you can't get the pile as deep, or you're just not achieving torque, then the insulated design will allow you to keep the pile in the ground with, you know, with that solution, but just insulate to counteract the effect of frost on the pile. So again, like in most cases, if it was a larger site, we would go in, we would do a geotechnical test, we would know this in advance, and we wouldn't want to build a huge site, 500 kilowatt, 2 megawatt, 10 megawatt, where we were insulating all the piles. But in these, in these type of projects where, you have 8 piles, or even, 28 piles, or 30 piles, like, it's not something that you want to do, but it doesn't break the bank, and it's not, it's not the worst thing at the end of the day. And again, compared to what you would have spent to get the fully engineered package, you still end up ahead of the game there. So we also provide you a dead man design as well. So if all else fails and you're not, it's hard rock and you can't get the helical on the ground at all, and you thought it was clay and you thought it was nice and you'd be able to get a helical in, it doesn't work. We do provide you with a grouted pile design as well, again, straight in your package, so that way you have that, and oh no, we're here, what do we do now? So the solution should be at your fingertips in terms of how to address that situation. And then lastly, we do provide a ground screw design as well. So just so you know, we do sell ground screws. We sell helical piles, as well as straight piles. So if you are looking for a supply of the pile as well, in addition to the rack, you can definitely contact us through Franken Solar. Now, just jumping back into the rack design and some of the features in the rack itself. Again, integrated wire management. We get asked this a lot. There are pre-punched holes for you to attach your wires. There's also drainage holes in all of the C channels. So if it does fill up with water, the water should drain out through one of the holes in the channel. It also comes with bonding, like integrated bonding by using weave washers that come with you in your package that you're going to receive through Franken Solar. It's important for you to note the placement of the washers and to make sure that the system is properly bonded to, or the modules are properly bonded to the rack. Again, just to touch on an earlier point about certifications, we have we have certification for bonding and grounding as per UL 273 for the US and ULC 1703 ORD for Canada. I cannot stress this enough. It's a proper, like all the properly engineered products have this certification, and there's a lot of solutions out there in Canada right now that people are not. They don't have the certifications, and I think it's going to be more and more of an issue. So, hopefully something you consider when choosing one of these solutions. We have wind tunnel study through CPP. We have third-party mechanical testing of key components and connections, again, that we can share. If you have a lender behind this, or, a third-party IE that's looking at the design, we have finite element analysis that we've done, as well as a significant amount of load testing, on the rack, in case you, or as I said, lenders or third-party engineers need to see the data. We can provide that very, very easily for you. So with that, I will open it up to any specific questions. And again, I have Arash Yazani here who can answer any questions about foundation, the ground, and Keith Roy here to answer any questions about constructing the rack and installing. So yeah, feel free to and Danny obviously to answer any questions about supply and pricing. So yeah, feel free to jump in and ask questions as they come. So Natalia, we can unmute some of the presenters. I think they can put their hand up.
Charles, there's a question from Howard asking about concrete ballast and how that will work. I believe he's in Newfoundland.
Okay, so that is a good question. We do have ballast tubs that we can provide to you. Now, the amount of ballast is different, is very site specific. So it is a little bit of engineering time that we would need to put in there. But what we would do is we would provide you with the amount, like you would provide us with the location and the configuration of the array or the site layout, and based on that, we would design the ballast for you, or specify the amount of ballast that you would need per foot, and provide you with an engineered drawing to that effect. And then obviously we have the ballast tubs here in stock that we would supply for you. So.
And then I've always been asked as well by a number of customers about connecting the individual racks together. Is there a solution we have currently for that?
Currently, no. You can build them. You can build them side by side. The beauty of the PRUD rack is, again, it's all designed for worst case scenarios. So, just making sure that you leave enough gap that when it's windy, that one rack or two panels are not, the two tables are not going to hit each other. Other than that, we are, you could. What do you think, Keith? Like 2 inches or 8?
Yeah. So normally with our PRU, you have to be between 8 to 2 inches. With this system, the advantage is you can be anything more than 2 to 3 inches to 30 feet. So especially when you're first doing your first couple systems, I'd even suggest giving yourself a foot between tables. That way, if you have any transition problems or things don't go exactly as planned, you can have a smooth edge just with larger spacing between your tables. Again, the system can handle it. It's just an aesthetic issue that you're probably going to end up with a better aesthetic product in the end if you give yourself a gap than if you try to make everything 2 inches apart.
Okay. There's also a chat function if people want to ask questions via text. You can just go on the chat function and just write in there and ask a question if you have any questions.
Yeah, so I guess Philip Walker sent me a text asking the price for the 2x8 kit as presented today. So that if you contact Danny from Franken Solar or sales at Franken Solar, they'll be able to sell you their price list, and that'll have all that information on there. So
yeah, absolutely. Anyone that doesn't have our price list, please feel free to reach out to sales at frankensolar.ca. That comes to me, and I will be very happy to share that price list with you. Yeah, and other questions, of course, as well. Just feel free to reach out. You can also, my personal email is danny.mueller@frankensolar.ca. You can also send stuff there, but sales is just a little bit easier.
think see some. Is this fixed rack at 30? It's actually fixed at 30 degrees. Well, the engineering is all done at 30 degrees. You can go to 35 degrees. It is built into the system. However, at that point we would have to look at your loads and confirm. But ideally, you're building everything at 30 degrees.
Yeah, and we get that a lot. We get people asking for 35, 40, 45 degrees for rack for cost for the ground mount. And we've looked at the numbers as well as far as extra production, and there's certainly a little bit of extra production there. but there's also downsides that come with it. There's higher loads on the rack. There's also, then if we'd have to do custom everything, then the cost would just go up drastically, as well as the lead time will go up drastically. So we've standardized around 30 degrees because it's easy and very cost competitive. So that's why 30 degrees and why 2x8.
Yeah, exactly. To answer David's question about 20-year warranty, so on the PRUD, generally this is for residential and small options. So that's why the warranty is for 10 years. On PRU, on our larger systems, it's we have a 20-year warranty. So. Driven pile option with 5-inch pile or single post option. So we don't have that on the PRUD system. So I don't know if everyone can see my screen and can see the questions. Can you guys see that? No. So sorry, I was assuming that you guys could see that. So question again from David Bosch, driven pile option with 5-inch pile or single post. The stock for PRUD is not set up for single post option. It can be modified. I hate to say that out loud, but again, we're customizing a product that should just be, off the shelf. For PRU systems that are larger, we can offer single post, dual post, again, ballasted screws, helical piles, driven. We have all of the options available to us. So, Peter, you're welcome.
Actually, Peter Basso was asking about the adjustability. I know there are some solutions out there that are seasonally adjustable. This is not, and the main reason is we've looked at those numbers as well, and the extra production that you get from it, and it is not significant. And usually, you're looking at significant cost increases on all the seasonally adjustable racks. So we don't offer a solution that is seasonally adjustable, just because it generally doesn't make financial sense to do so. Also, what we've seen a lot of times is people have done it. People that have had seasonally adjustable racks, they do it the first few years, and eventually they just stop doing it.
So yeah, one quick question from David Bosch again. How many kilowatts per day can a crew install in a 10-hour day?
I got my standard answer for this one. It's one of the most hard questions to answer. It really depends on who is installing, their skill level, and where you're installing. For example, I've done a demonstration with a PRUD rack, and with everyone watching, the odd person holding up another end, in 47 minutes, I built the whole rack, from being on the ground to being fully erect with no modules on yet. So 47 minutes, you can build a 2x8. But I've done it a bunch of times, and I was also doing it on my own. So that being said, when you get into a pattern, you have the advantage of, being able to do multiple A-frames at a time, having guys with certain skill sets, but it also really depends on what you're looking for your transitions. If you're not worried about transitions very much and you have 1-foot cable gaps, you can throw them up in 47 minutes every time. If you're worrying about lining up to the next 20 tables, you're going to slow down your times a bit, because you have to be cautious of how to transition between table to table. So short answer is you can do it as fast as 47 minutes. There's probably someone faster than me out there by now. But that being said, it really depends on what you're looking for transitions and what terrain you're working with. If you're working with something flat, like we're seeing out in Alberta, Saskatchewan, your times will be a lot faster. Up in the Haliburton County and over rock cliffs, then you're working a lot slower. So that's just the most generic answer I can give for that.
And that's already with ground screws in the ground, right? So obviously that is additional time you'd require.
Correct.
We have a question about the material. So it's all G90 galvanized material with magni-coated fasteners. Maximum wind speeds that the rack can handle. So that also is That also is in your individual package for per province. And yeah, it's 0.63 kPa is the wind pressure, and it's designed for 50 PSF of snow. So you're at
It excludes 2 places in Alberta.
yeah. So yeah, there's in Ontario, you can basically use this rack all over Ontario. In Alberta, there's 2 small areas, which again, when you get your package, you'll see them on the map. It's basically the Pincher Creek area where the winds are exceptionally high. But for 99% of the province, it works. So again, it's a little bit different in each province, but it should work 99% of Canada. So
have we done the testing for the East Coast at all anywhere?
we have looked at we have looked at this for East Coast projects. We haven't supplied it in the East Coast as of yet, and it does work in most of the East Coast as well.
We do have a concept that if needed, we could implement for higher wind load, a higher wind load design. So I mean, that's definitely something we've got on our radar, and we could, if the right project came about, that we could look at.
Yeah, again, it does work in the majority of places on the East Coast as well. So. Yeah, David, he sorry, just answer your question. Yeah, Keith billed that 47 minutes. Basically himself, there was, the odd time that somebody was helping him on the other side, but putting it together, he put it together himself. So can you provide cable trays and support for the inverters? So generally, it just really depends on the size of the inverter and the loads, and we could definitely take a look at that. Sometimes we build a little unit structure, off the back of one of the legs for you to mount your inverters. So yeah, definitely something we can talk about. If you're talking about a micro inverter, you can attach it directly to one of the beams. So. Or microinverter or optimizer. Danny, you were going to say something?
Me? No. That's
sorry, I'm just going to scroll back through the questions just to make sure we didn't miss any, because they were coming in pretty quick at one point.
Then another advantage with the installation as well is because it is 2x8, you don't have the same problems you'd have with normal or standard PRU or concerns that happened in the past. So there's larger slots, so you're able to adapt for the panels. If you start half a degree off the skew, by the time you reach the end of the table, you're off by maybe an inch. Whereas when you're dealing with the 2x18s, when you're off by half a degree, you're off by up to 4 inches by the other end of the table. So because they are resetting every 8 panels, it does help with a lot of your alignment issues as well. So you're not fighting yourself 18 panels long. It's 8 panels at most.
So if anyone needs, again, we've installed this product, I think well, definitely in Ontario and Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. If anyone wants to talk to any other installers in terms of references, happy to share that information with you. Again, when you do order, the package is pretty complete in terms of what you would need to do to assemble it and check, and that goes for the foundation as well as the racking. And if if all else fails, we have a pretty big support team here at Polar that has put a lot of this in the ground and that has designed this product and worked on all aspects. So we're definitely here to help answer your questions as you go through your installs. Howard, just to answer your question, again, we would need. Howard asks, can changes be made to adjust for higher wind speeds, 140 kilometers an hour? We would have to look at that, on a site by site basis, and definitely let you know, and we'd be happy to do that. So.
Jason Wilson also asked about the mounting the rack on concrete piles.
So,
I guess we kind of addressed that already, right?
Yeah. So we do have we have an option to so I'm not entirely sure what you meant by mounting on concrete piles, but we do have a grouted pile solution or a dead mount solution in the package, as well as we can mount into a concrete ballast as well. So.
Perfect.
All right. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Again, if you have questions, please share them with us and with Frank and Solar, and we're happy to get this out to you. Thank you obviously for everyone that joined today, and for taking your time. We are very, very proud of this product. We have been selling a lot of it, which is always good, and the feedback has been great from the installers, and wherever you are. Again, Ontario West, if you do need CSI, there should be one located pretty close to you. That's what we have for now. Any other comments, Arash, Keith, Danny?
Yeah, just would like to thank everyone again for attending. We do have close to 100 of these units in stock, so feel free to reach out if you have any additional questions, and you can feel confident in planning around this product. It does work pretty much like Vishal said. It much works everywhere with very few exceptions. If you are in a little bit of a higher wind load area, then definitely reach out to us and we can make sure that the project can go ahead. But yeah, thank you very much again.
All right, great. So thank you guys again, and we look forward to working with you guys very soon.